Morning. I've been up quite early for me, and I've been contemplating grief. And I contemplate grief a lot, and I've just written a book on grief called Meeting Your Grief, which is out at the moment on Kindle, an ebook, but it's not out in paperback and hardback just yet. But grief is something that people don't even get who are in the industry. The only people I've come across when I was exploring grief that really knew grief, like they knew the back of the hand, was Andrea and Stephen Levine. Now, grief is something that people hide, something they suppress. It's something that causes separation in society today. One of the things where by sharing my diagnosis, I'm giving people a chance to grieve. I'm giving people a chance to talk, to come to terms with, to look at, to acknowledge, to accept that this is how life is. This is a sacred part of life. It's not death. It's a diagnosis, but it's also a change of a chapter, a change of a time, the alteration of going from one state of being to another. As with any changes in health, whether it's a stroke or even catching a cold, anything that really can alter us in any way. And at least with a cold, we feel a bit grubby and we go back to normal. And maybe in this case with cancer, I can feel a bit grubby and maybe go back to normal. You don't know. We don't know. And what we do know is it's present. And when there's anything present in our lives, we need to talk about it. Grief is so important because every time we've experienced loss, even if it's a loss of a perception of what we think should be, then that attachment, that emotional attachment, it pulls at our hearts, it pulls at our heartstrings, and it forces us to look at the impermanence of life, the nature of life itself. Everything changes, everything goes from one state to another in that great vast circle. And some things are in our lives for much longer than others. And there's some things in our lives that we're so emotionally attached to, even when they're unhealthy. And that's okay, because we can grieve anything that we're emotionally attached to. Now, bereavement's slightly different, because bereavement comes with grief. But bereavement is that loss, that deep loss of a person or a pet. Whereas grief is not a bereavement. Grief is the experience of loss. It's pretty much our process of how, a natural process of how we're trying to protect ourselves from a potential loss of something, because we're feeling threatened in some way, because we've lost what's familiar to us. So I just want you to look at today and think about, what is it in your life? Where's your spoken grief and where's your unspoken grief? Like, there's so much weight that we carry, and we usually carry it in our bodies. As Stephen and Andrea taught us, it's usually held in our bellies. If we go into a room with people, does your belly tighten up? You know, does thinking about a certain situation, does your belly tighten up? Where's that leading from? Where's that originated from? That'll be some kind of loss in some way. Every fear that we've ever felt is connected to grief, of grieving something that we perceive we might lose, or anger or frustration. It's all grief. Everything is all loss on a major scale. And I know this is a huge thing to contemplate, because we don't teach this in society. Many of us get taught that you don't cry, or you don't acknowledge your emotions, or you just shut up or stay positive. That's not truth. That's, you know, you could stay positive naturally without too much hassle if you spent a long time working on yourself, and then you're able to hold space for yourself, and you'd have less things in your life causing you friction, because there wouldn't be the fear of loss so much, because you wouldn't be grasping onto things that are impermanent, and you won't be reacting to things, because you know that your reactions are actually grief of things that you've already lost before, of all those memories, of all the people, of all the places, of all the who I think I am's, or who I thought I was, or what I think I can do. It's all grief. The jobs that we used to have, the people we used to hang out with, the activities we used to do. Every time we are unable to continue something for some reason, even like going hanging out with a friend, or seeing a family member, or the grief from the children with the estranged parents, or the grief following divorces, or the grief following the loss of family and friends through death, or the grief carried by people who have got a serious illness, and they're there sitting with the serious illness thinking, wow, man, I can't do what I used to do. I'm not well anymore. And that part of me, where's it gone? The frustration, the anger, the resentment that's carried right there and then. Wow. We need to learn to have mercy. We need to have mercy with ourselves and mercy with each other. We need to be able to hold each other close and allow each other to be just as we are in that moment. And we need to provide that safe space, the safe space where we can speak our truth and feel our feelings and allow it to be, and give it space to just ripple out into the world. It's really important that we honour that. It's really important that we honour our truth, and that we allow our bellies to soften. We need to breathe air into our bellies and into our bodies, and allow that tension to release, and just let it go. Or maybe not so much letting it go, because we like to hold on to so many things, but letting it be, giving it space to be in the moment. So I send out so much love and courage for all those who are sitting with grief, which is every single one of you. And I'm here, and you can send out a message to me and talk, or write, or email, anything, and we can look at grief together. So I love you very, very much, and I wish you well. Catch you later.